welcome back to my channel. I just threw a pizza in the oven for dinner and I have Zoe set up watching Princess Sophia with a popsicle, so I figured I'd probably have a good like 10 to 15 minutes to throw this video together for you guys. This video is going to be the 10 baby names we love but won't be using video tag. I think it's tag. I've been watching these videos. I really like watching these videos from other YouTube moms on YouTube. Obviously on YouTube. This is where I got a lot of baby name inspiration for this baby, and I love talking about baby names. This list of baby names that I'm going to share with you guys is 100% the names that both Trey and I love and won't be using, because there were a good handful of names that I personally love that Trey absolutely hated, and vice versa, and I'm not going to be mentioning any of those names. As some of y'all know, we have been having difficulty coming up with baby names for this baby, especially not knowing whether or not it's a boy or a girl. But I think that we have finally settled on names for a boy or a girl. And so the names that I will be sharing in this video are not going to be names that we have decided to use. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the way that this works is I will name 5 names for a boy and 5 names for a girl that we had talked about and liked, but that we decided we won't use. I'm going to go ahead and start with the boy names. And I also want to mention that a lot of these names I feel can be used for a boy or a girl. I am super into the whole gender neutral names and using a boy name for a girl or vice versa. I think that it's super cute, and a lot of the names that we had narrowed down, especially for a girl, were gender neutral names or even boy names that we would use for a girl. So the first name on my list is a name that we wanted for a boy, and we had also talked about it for a girl, and that's the name Grayson, or also the name Gray. We both absolutely love this name, or these names. We had always said that if we had twins, that we would use the name that we are choosing for a boy and this name. The second name that I have on this list, and this was the name for a girl that I was going with right when we found out that we were pregnant with this baby. This was the name that I had chosen for a girl, and then I ended up kind of going back and forth with it a little bit, but that is the name Logan. And I know that that is typically a boy's name. Like I said, I really like the thought of using a boy name for a girl, and I think the name Logan would make such a cute girl's name, and I still love that name, and who knows, I might even end up using that name. If this baby ends up being a girl and she looks like a Logan, I could still end up using that name over the name that we have ultimately decided, but I just absolutely love that name. The third name on my list for a boy is the name Landon. I love the name Landon. I absolutely love this name. The reason I don't want to use the name is just because it seems to be so popular these days, and I know so many people that have used this name. I know people personally that have used this name. I know YouTube moms that have used this name. I see this name all over the place, and I still love it. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, like, just name the baby whatever you want to name them. Don't worry about what other people have used. And I can agree with that. I can, but at the same time, I just don't want my child growing up with the same name as 50 other kids in his class. I really prefer to go with more unique names, to not have my child sharing names with anybody else. I don't know. So the fourth name that I'm gonna tell you guys is another name that we had really considered for a girl. and we still really love this name. I have my reasons why I'm not really planning on using it. It makes me really sad, but that is the name Phoenix. I love the name Phoenix. I think it's a good name for a boy or a girl, and I wanted this name for a girl, but the main reason why I am choosing not to use this name is because of the spelling. And as we were kind of getting a feel for this name and deciding whether or not we were going to use this name, we encountered an issue with the spelling of the name. And the actual way that you spell Phoenix is with the O before the E. And I had noticed that we were continually switching those. And I just kind of started to feel like I personally have a name that gets misspelled constantly. My name is Elizabeth. My parents spelled my name with an S instead of a Z. And I have forever been dealing with people misspelling my name, and even my own family members misspell my name constantly. And because I've struggled with that personally, I guess I really just don't want to pass that down to my own child. I would rather give her something a little bit easier to spell. Obviously, she would know how to spell her own name, but having to deal with other people messing up the spelling of your name for the rest of your life, I know it's really annoying, and I do not want to give that to any of my children. The next name on the list that we had chosen for a boy is the name Atlas. And I had never heard this used as a name before until I got pregnant with this baby, and I was obviously looking at baby name lists, just so many baby name lists. I mean, oh my gosh, I was spending hours on Pinterest looking for baby names, and it was such a struggle coming up with a name for this baby. And I came across the name Atlas so many times on so many lists, and it just really grew on me, and I just absolutely love the name. And if I wasn't so set on the name that we have chosen for a boy, then I can't guarantee that I would not use the name Atlas. And it does sound very similar to the name that we have chosen for a boy, but I love this name. I think it's the most beautiful name. Sounds like my child needs me. Do you see your face?
Yeah, my face.
Your face? The next name that I have on my list is a name for a girl, and this is actually, I personally would use this as a middle name. I love this name for a middle name. I think it flows with so many girl names, but that is the name Everleigh. And honestly, I really want to use this name. I may still use this name. I don't think that it flows very well though with the name that we have currently chosen for a girl. So I prefer the middle name that we have ended up choosing. So I think she wants to be. So I first heard this name, I think it was Channing Tatum named his daughter Everleigh, not spelled the way that I like to spell it, but that was the first time I heard this name, and it seems to be really growing in popularity. I have seen it used several times since then, which is probably the reason why I would want to use it for a middle name instead of a first name, but I just think it's beautiful. The next name on my list is the name Asher for a boy, or a girl. I love the name Asher. I think the main reason why I'm not choosing the name Asher would be because it ends in ER and our last name is Powers, and my dog is gonna mess with my tripod. And I guess I just don't like the sound of the ER followed by the ER. But I love that name. I would love to use that name if I could. Maybe if our last name was different, I would have a son or a daughter named Asher. The next name that I have listed for a girl is the name Hayden. Also a gender neutral name, surprise, surprise. This name was probably going to be my second choice for a girl after the name Logan in the very beginning of my pregnancy. I had talked about the name Hayden. I still love the name Hayden. I'm just not getting that feeling that you get, like, just the feeling that that's the name. Does that make sense? Like, when I came up with the name for Lilia, I just knew, oh my gosh. When she sees food. I just knew that that was her name, and whenever I came up with Zoe's name, it was the same thing. I just had this gut feeling that that was her name, and I'm having a really hard time getting that gut feeling about anything for this baby, especially for girl names. A lot of people are telling me that's a sign that it's a boy, but I don't know. I have no idea what that means. It just means that I'm having a really hard time deciding on a girl name. So the next name on my list that I have for a boy that we love is the name Archer. And I really love this name. I've seen this name grow in popularity a lot lately, and I actually have a really close friend who has recently, well, kind of recently, had a son and named him Archer, and I think it's a super cute name. Again, it has the ER at the end, so Archer Powers kind of sounds a little bit weird to me. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't choose it. And obviously another reason is that I have a close friend who has a son with that name, and I just don't feel right copying anybody's name choices. So that is the reason why we haven't chose that name, but I love that name. I really love that name so much. The very last name on my list, and this is for a girl, and if you had watched some of my previous videos, I don't remember exactly which video I had talked about it in, but I had talked about the potential names that we had come up with for this baby, and this was one of them, and this was my name set in stone until I came up with the name that I like for a girl that I have right now, and that is the name Rhiannon. I absolutely love this name. I had chosen this name for a girl not that long ago, and if you did watch that video where I kind of made that semi-announcement, I talked about how I am a big Fleetwood Mac fan, I'm a big Stevie Nicks fan, and Rhiannon is the name of a Fleetwood Mac song. I've also seen the name used before, just kind of like randomly scattered here and there. I've seen it used, and I just think it's beautiful. I also think it's a very long name, and me personally, having grown up with a very long name, I have my reservations about giving my children super long names. I have first-hand experience with how annoying it can be having a name that has a lot of letters and a lot of syllables. That is one of the reasons why I'm kind of steering away from using this name. But we had decided that if we were going to use this name, that we are going to use the nickname Ryan for her. So her name would be Rhiannon, but we would call her Ryan. And some people were asking, well, why don't you just name her Ryan? I don't know. I guess I really just wanted to use the name Rhiannon and let that be her name and just call her whatever I feel like calling her, but I don't know. I guess you can't really expect to choose something and not get everybody's feedback on that, and it's not always positive. So that wraps up my baby name list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you're looking for some unique baby names to use for yourself, or if you just like watching these videos like I do, don't forget to follow my Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook if you don't already. And like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. I will see you all for my next video. Bye!